welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. This is your host, Scotty V, returning with me one more time this season. We're very excited to have the spectacular and amazing Anthony Cosjitsu on the show. And folks, we are both battling the seasonal cold and flu. So we're going to try and keep our energy up, but bear with us. It's going to be a very NyQuil, DayQuil, cold and flu remedies sort of a day from both of us. Anthony, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. Today at least is the better of the last few days. So I think yesterday, or like I said, like Friday night, that's when it was really starting to sink in. But we got that DayQuil, we got that ibuprofen, and whatever over-the-counter medication that you use.
And I have plenty of caffeine has been doing the trick for me.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta have more
Mhm.
tea later today. But yesterday was tea. Today is a nice bowl of soup.
Oh, it really, I mean, it's this time of the year. Like, I don't know how many people listen who are in the colder parts of the United States or in the world, but it's like 30 degrees here. I'm sure it is over where you are too. It's probably
It's
cold.
supposed to be 30 degrees, but Mother Nature decided 60 degrees and rain was the forecast today.
Oh,
So
so you're going through the roller coaster
this
of
is why
temperatures.
this is why this is why I got a cutoff now. It's getting warm here. I would have had a hoodie on, but Mother Nature said, "Yo, we're gonna go from like 30 to 60 in like 24 hours." It's like, okay,
Well,
thanks.
nothing better than a little comfort soup, some vegetable, some chicken noodle to get you feeling better. I think we're gonna get into a little chicken soup for the cosplay soul today,
Uh-oh.
as we talk through some things. I think
Uh-oh.
today's the day that we talk about the dark side of cosplay. And sorry about my wind burn too. I was out running before we started
They
recording,
look very
so
distinct.
I probably look like I'm feverish, but I'm not really. I'm not that sick anymore. It's really just from being out in the cold weather and coming in from it to record today. But yes, we should definitely have this going before Christmas. But I think we have some. This is the time of the year when you find out who's naughty and who's nice, and I think that becomes very apparent sometimes in the community.
Yeah, and it seems like today
Yeah.
to talk about the naughty side of the list. This was an idea that we kind of came up with on the first show earlier in the season with me. We came up with two ideas. We already fulfilled one of them, which was shooting in a cosplay group, right?
Yeah, that was a really great talk. And I just, yeah, like who even knew? I certainly didn't know just how many of those you'd been involved with. And so recently that you really do just a ton of work to coordinate on all of that. And
Not the type to ask for help either, so you can only imagine how
yeah,
I mean, like obviously, I'll have Liza there by my side helping me, but like other than that, like I'm not reaching out to other cosplayers, like any other cosplayers. The only help that I want from them is for them to put together a great cosplay and show up on time. That's all I want from them. That's your way of helping me. So, but that's not the topic for today now, is it? The topic for today.
no, no, that's just the recap. The topic of the day is to talk about all of the snarky people out there, not snarky Jay, but the real snarky people, the real people
A
who
little bit of snarkiness
gaslight.
is okay. A little bit of
And
snarkiness is
yes,
okay.
I think Snarky might be the only person that we actually name drop on the show, and we're not even saying anything bad about her. She's got an amazing YouTube channel. She's done very well for herself in that respect, and she's also and she's not like it's not like she's competing with me or anything like that. But I used to have Snarky J Mondays. After she was on the show, I would do a shout out for her every Monday. I'm sure it annoyed the crap out of her, but
Yeah,
she's actually a very talented artist as well. Like she did a very great likeness of the show. She's done some amazing things. So
yeah.
hats off.
I don't know her personally, but I've seen her cosplay. She does a very great job with them. And to defend the snarkiness, I'm a little snarky myself too. So you know, it's
Well,
not that bad.
I
So
think it's really the context. I'm sure that things have been said. You spend enough time in this community, things get said about you no matter what you do.
yeah.
It's just it's a weird sometimes little space, and the whole reason for the show was to give the newer cosplayers some hope and some reassurance that some of the things that they're going to encounter are not going to be all 100% bad, to encourage them to continue to do those things that really light them up. I've seen some people in the One Piece space that are just kind of cropped up out of nowhere, and they are young and impressionable, and they really just do this out of the sheer joy that it gives them to do it. And I've had some conversations with them through some people that I know, and they're just really nice people. Like, I don't want them to be tainted by this
It's
community
also
in any
funny too.
way.
It's also funny too. You say One Piece because like when it comes to
Oh,
like
One Piece.
when it comes to any some sort of toxicity in the cosplay community, I've always found that the old school animes carry a
The
good amount
most?
of less what?
The most? Are they the worst?
No, less. I was gonna say than
Less.
the old school animes carry less toxicity within their fandoms as opposed to I feel like the new ones. Now, don't get me wrong, like and is this me saying that maybe because like I don't know, like I don't know if it's like the mentality the like the certain mentality that you have and like which equates to the type of anime that you like, or maybe it's just that maybe with the older animes like it's just more older fans to younger fans. I know I'm insinuating that maybe younger people are a little more
I'm an older fan.
dramatic
Yeah.
and sensitive. I'm not trying to imply or insinuate that, but for you young people, when you get to 33 you'll know what I mean. So
Yep. And when you get to 43,
yeah, and then
you'll
you'll
know
be
what I
looking
mean.
and then you'll be looking at the younger people being like, God damn, they are over dramatic, aren't they? No, I don't mean to sound like I don't mean to sound like I'm mostly joking anyway too. I don't mean to sound like that. But but yeah, yeah, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, you were saying about with
No, yeah, I really, we never even thought about, like some of the fandoms that come up because they're made popular by mainstream.
yeah.
Netflix creates a series and suddenly it's something people want to do or try. And
You were talking about the live action, I'm sorry.
yeah, live action One Piece,
I was
not
talking about the anime, sorry.
the never ending anime, which is actually very good if anybody wants to go and watch that. It's all on Netflix now, so
Yeah,
it's
I've
nice.
seen
It's a cool show.
I've never kept up with One Piece like that, but I've seen enough like shows and fights and all that stuff to like respect what One Piece is. And it definitely is a great show. One day I'll sit down and watch 1,000 episodes, or maybe like half of them if I can just find the canon episodes. So,
But
but
that's really not where the darkness comes from. Like, I don't see a lot, like a lot of the newer cosplayers, it doesn't seem like they're out there because there's some bitter
the
piece of
darkness comes from
humanity.
more the Demon Slayer and My Hero. No, I'm just joking.
It's anybody, yeah, it's
I'm joking.
all the Captain Americas and all the no.
I'm joking. I'm
Um,
joking. But no, I mean, like, for what we're saying right now, yeah, in terms of like the real topic, yeah, I mean, like, for as fun as, and this is where our ADD goes all over the place, for as fun as cosplay is, or how it's supposed to be, and we don't want to deter anyone away from it. Like for the most part, people want to just go there, have fun, take their photos. It's the camaraderie, the friends. If you're at a convention, you're on the floor and you're taking photos and you're putting together group cosplay shoots, and or if you're just having your own event, or if you're just planning your own shoot separately, or whatever you have it, or what you guys do on social media, because obviously that's still a part of it with Instagram and TikTok and cosplay. Whatever you do there, like most of it is fun and people just want to have fun. But unfortunately, there is a dark side,
mhm.
and um that dark side could be driven by by a lot of things. And some people, people aren't just plainly cruel. There's people that,
Well,
yeah,
maybe not in the cosplay community,
well,
but
I think when it comes to cosplay, because I've been in the crux of it, is that it's I hate to like stereotype and be like, oh, it's that typical person like in their mom's basement and they don't know how to like interact with people on the outside. But like, it might not be all that extra detail, but it does have to do with not knowing how to behave socially around other
it
people.
is that, yeah, a little bit socially
It's a huge
awkward.
part of it. It's a
Hmm.
huge part of it. And another part of it is happy people don't do this 98% of the time. So most of it is driven by some sort of misery or depression or jealousy, or just something's not going in your life correctly for you to just lash out and cause some drama or misery, or go out of your way to just, get back at someone, or
Yeah.
just just start jabbing about, just shit talking about someone else. Like,
Yeah, in a lot of cases, I feel like it all spills over. It's like if you have a lot of stuff going on in your personal life, it all kind of spills into your creative, like what you're doing
and that
online and
too.
stuff like that.
So yeah, two key points, right? So two key points right there. It to start things off, it definitely doesn't come from a place of happiness, because most people that are happy will not do that.
Hmm.
And secondly, what I had said before, to be social. So
Hmm.
so yeah, lack of social awareness, or not knowing how to be social with people, and just, I guess we can say, bitterness in your life. So yeah,
Overall, I
and
think we
to
have.
take one part of the two things I said, the not the social part, but the bitter part. A lot of the time, that comes from just getting screwed over in life somehow, whether it was a family event. It's some sort of trauma that happened to you, most likely some sort of family event, some sort of just you getting picked on as you were older and making fun of you, and so on and so forth. And you don't have to be that person. The hero and the villain both have the same backstory. Unfortunately, you just couldn't handle it, and you took this path of just being bitter and just lashing back out at the world. And and I know how they feel too, because I was in that same position, except my choice and a lot of other people who I'm friends with, because I'm not friends with people that chose the bitter path. The people I'm friends with, they chose the path of, instead of, oh, I'm gonna get back on the world for people screwing me over, us, or empaths like us, we decided to be like, no, 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 no. I will never allow what happened to me to happen to other people. And I think if more people went with that mentality, there would be a lot less chaos in this community. I really wholeheartedly believe that.
Yeah, well, and the common themes that I seem to run across with both male and female cosplayers is like they seem to have something that they want to prove, like they need the attention for some reason. It's like I'm out here to prove my relevance. I'm out here to prove that I can be a model or that I can be on YouTube and be this YouTube star. There's something that they're trying to prove that, like being an accountant just doesn't do for them.
Right.
And it's like I need to be this personality, and that's a big thing, especially among the younger crowd. Like I'd say the 18 to 30 crowd that have not established themselves
I
in
would say
some sort of career or something like that.
I wouldn't lump together 18 to 30. I would say maybe like 18 to like 24. Because
24,
I
young the
feel like that,
youngins.
yeah, because I feel like when you get to the upper 20s, or even people in their 30s, the mindset starts to switch a little bit. And it makes sense, because your brain doesn't finish developing until you're 25. So there's still something going on. But before you continue, there's something you hit on, and it's something to prove. And I always say that about the people who always run their mouth, or that always have to say something, or that always have to like get a word in, or say something about someone else, or like that always are like, they're like, I'm this, I'm that, or they're like, yo guys, like, they're like, yo man, you guys got to be better out here. And it's like, no dude, you got to be better out here. Like there's a reason why you're putting out in the universe like all these things. Like, and this is a big thing I learned from martial arts. Like, and 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 honestly, like jujitsu guys and cosplayers, they're no different. Like
Oh no.
they're both very like nerds, except one's just nerds and the others are nerd assassins. Joe Rogan made that quote, nerd assassins. Like, they love anime, they love all the geek shit, except the only difference is like they're not running their mouth, getting emotional, and like trying to start problems. Like, they're friendly. And I always thought it was, and by the way, that's also another thing too. The friendliest people on earth are the martial artists, and the people who run their mouth the most are just like these, just people who, whether they're nerds or whether they're not even just nerds, like just any person in life that you know, they're just going through stuff, or they just have a high ego, and things like that. So
Yeah, generally the students with the big egos don't last very long. They're
No,
they're
not,
like
no,
they're
not
like
at
the
all.
3 to 6 month crowd is what I used to call them. They're the
Yeah,
two test wonders.
yeah.
They'll get their green belt and that's it. And
I always tell people watch for the people that are always trying to preach and run their mouth and everything because they're trying to put something into the universe because they have something in their mind. Like I just love watching people criticize because I'm just like, tell me more about the flaws that you have and how you're not trying to fix them and then you're gonna put them on everyone else. Like just keep going. Like I'm like this at this point. You know, man, I was going on a rant about narcissists yesterday. I
oh,
that's even a whole new
and we definitely can't name drop if we start talking about narcissists because they don't like that.
no, they don't like they don't like that at all. I was reading a thing about people on the spectrum and versus
Mm.
and how narcissists can't they're not good for narcissists and it was something like because and this was a narcissist talking who was saying who they have a mental illness blah blah blah. I don't know. I don't want to be insensitive about it, like it being a mental illness, but I also don't like
Well,
excuse.
it
Like I
kind
don't
of
accept
is.
that. It is, but for me, I can't accept it as an excuse, though. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
it,
well, neither could a narcissist, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they
I mean, like,
wouldn't. Generally, they don't go
tell
to
me,
get help.
like, I could help you, and I'll be like, all right, like, this is how, like, this is where you can get help or help yourself, but I'm not going to be your friend or trust you. No way in hell. Like, and I'm not going to give you, and I'm not going to accept it as an excuse if you were to screw me over. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and yeah, it's fairly
um,
obvious when you find it. It's just like you
yeah.
hope that when you make the decisions inside of yourself not to be like that, like not to be the person who's kind of getting into the middle of all of this darkness,
Yeah.
that it just doesn't come to you anymore. Generally those people avoid you. You don't
Mhm.
have to deal with the crazy
I
narcissist
mean,
anymore.
I've dealt
But
one.
they are there.
I've seen a lot of them in the community. I dealt one specifically for a long time. I'm not naming names, but like, you know, it's. I'm sure it was hard for them to read me because the things I say don't always match what's in my head. It probably also didn't help that I'm just like on a different level than them. I'm sorry, like mentally and physically. It's just it is what it is. Like I hate talking like that, but but also like in terms of like the narcissism, yeah, it's like, and then when they eventually see that like you're not on their side or they can't get in your head or they have no control of you what to do, then
Oh,
they
they get
just
nasty then,
then they leave you and they try to get someone else and then you come
yeah.
after them, there's gaslighting like, oh no, but you started it or you were talking shit. It's like, nah bro, people are reacting to the things that you're doing, like, you know. And it's crazy because and like we said before, they even know that they're narcissists too, and like they still continue to hurt people. And I hate to make it seem like I have a personal vendetta, but it just it I had been through something specifically that like to a degree like almost made things like almost ruined my friendships and like almost let's just say like they uh, yeah, I don't know. It's
And it's hard to talk about too, because I
yeah,
think the more specific we get, the more people are going to know who we're talking about and what we're
nah,
talking
yeah,
about. But it's very unfortunate. I think you see it both when you go to the cons and you see it when you're just looking at things online. A lot of people like try to cloak all this stuff. It's like everything has to outdo the last thing. It all has to be better. Like you look at, like even in the last, since I started doing this show, and maybe this is a little bit of a year in review too, but since I
yeah.
started doing this show, the quality and the type of content that people have been coming out with back then was nowhere near the level that it is now. Like it
And I
is
say the same
so
thing about my cosplays, man. I say the same
crazy.
thing.
The kind of bar that these people are setting for production and for photography and everything, it's like, you're not getting paid for this, right? Like it's like this is just supposed to be for fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like they have to make it like a professional everything looks very professionally done. Well, even YouTube's evolved in the last 5 years as
Yeah.
far as like television quality, studio quality work.
Oh, it's great.
And boy, does that bring with it a lot of darkness because
Yeah.
you get obsessed with this like level that you can never obtain. You get obsessed with, you have to make this a very high paying thing for yourself. Like you have to be like this person who only appears if they're paid a bunch of money. And I've run into that before with people that I've approached where they don't want anything to do with you unless you're like dropping money on them, and you're like, I could get actual celebrities for
Yeah,
that price. Like you
yeah,
guys, it's a little bit ridiculous.
that's another toxic. That's another toxic part of it too. Um, oh, and that narcissist almost caused me and my girlfriend not to get together. Anyway, um, anyway, yeah,
Yeah, well, and yeah, there's a lot like that's almost like politically, it's weird too,
yeah.
in the community, and the way that people like, ooh, what's the word I'm looking for? The
No,
way that they try to control things inside of cosplay just because
yeah,
you are a
controlling is another big.
cosplayer. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to like manufacture relationships, friends, and that it has something to do with
Oh
their like
yeah, like
success.
and I caught on to it. Like I caught on to it pretty quickly, and to the point where it's like they tell you like, oh, make sure you don't do this, and it's like, yeah, buddy, sure, don't worry, I won't do it. And then like I just go do what I want anyway, and they just get pissed, and I love it. So
Yeah, it's
it's
weird. I've had that before too, where like people telling me who to have on the show and who not to. People telling me that,
oh my
like
god,
making up stuff about people, or
oh
just
my
saying like,
god,
oh
dude, if I
yeah,
could
they
tell
do
you
all
about
this,
the
they do
people
all
in
that.
my
Oh my
past
goodness.
that if I could tell you about the people in my past when I would share them in my story, they're like, why are you associating with this person? They did this, and that. It's like, oh God, like I don't want to hear it. Like you're not to me, you're not a good friend if that's what you do to me. Like if you tell me who or who not to be friends with, you've started a path on us not being friends. I'm not kidding. No, like if you're listening to the show right now and you thought about telling me what to do with something like that, or you have told me what to do, like think about it, because I'll just disassociate with you, because one, no one tells me what to do, and two, no one gives well two and also no one gives me an ultimatum. But if you're really my friend, then you don't have to talk to me like that. You're comfortable with me being a friend, you know what I mean? Now if I'm friends with someone, like it also, it depends on the reasoning. Like if me and you, like if we're loyal friends to each other, sure, we'll be loyal friends to each other and look out for each other. But like if that person's my loyal friend and you're just like someone I met in the community like 2 years ago, go fuck yourself. Like I'm not gonna be friends with that person, you know? Um but not to segue into something that not to segue into something different, or not different, but it's similar. But you had mentioned something about like the production and just like putting everything together and so on and so forth, and like
Hmm.
and I want to and also to add on to that, there's the way we video and film and do all this other stuff and post and put up content and everything else.
Yeah.
The dark side of cosplay does not have to be a person. It could be what you do with your content and how you put it together. Because the dark side could be you kind of driving yourself to the point where like,
So
I
you
need this
burn
to be
yourself
perfect, I need
out.
that to be
Yeah.
perfect, I need to post on this schedule, I need to do this, I got to do my Twitch, I got to do all this. And no one realizes that that's dark side, because now your mental health is taking a toll as well.
Yeah, you're really just, it's like work for work's sake at that
Yeah,
point. And yeah, I mean, to go
and
back
then
to
you're
your
doing what's
point,
popular instead of doing what you like,
the
and that
pop
really drives.
cosplay. Oh yeah. And yeah, it's no longer a passion, it's like a job. And you have one of those already, and if you don't, and this is just you making that, you're just trying to make this a job and make it
You have a
work.
job. Look, if you're getting paid
Mm,
for this, by all means, make your money. But like, well, it that still depends too, because like I've seen people make their money and they can make millions, but they're still depressed and unhappy. And then was that
mhm.
millions worth it? So do what you love, and it won't feel like work. That's what I always say, you know?
Yes, and never, I don't like to talk to other adults like they're not adults, and
Oh
I
yeah,
get a lot of that myself, where it's like there's like a knowledge bomb that's being dropped on
yeah.
me by someone who's 20 years younger than me, who hasn't spent one day in a professional setting, certainly isn't on an executive leadership team. I'm like, okay, thank you for that
You're because
PSA.
they think you're the
Uh,
old person that is out of
like
touch with
I'm
reality.
completely out of touch. I don't run a $3
They
million
think you're
marketing budget
they
on
think
my own. No, I
they think like they think since they're like so progressive and like so moral that like they know so much more than us. But it's like, I'm sorry, but like there's something about like life experience and stuff like that, you know? I remember arguing with someone that was like almost 10 years younger than me a couple of years ago. And we were, not to get political, but we were arguing like between capitalism and socialism or stuff like that. And I was on the capitalist side and he was on the socialist side. And I was and he was telling me aspects of capitalism. And they're like, this is why we should have socialism. I'm like, that's capitalism. He's like, no, it's socialism. I'm like, oh boy. Oh boy.
Yes.
What is
Well,
going?
and and I've had whole episodes on opinion as fact, and it's a lot. It's the fun part of having a podcast. But it is not healthy when you get into this really rigorous
I was like,
belief
wait a minute, before
structure.
we
Yeah,
agree or
and then
disagree on something, we have to like know the definitions of what's what first. Like we can't, and that's what a lot of people do. They're like, oh, you're a this, you're a that. Like, they say something about you. Oh, like you're not supporting this, or you're not supporting this, or they say that you don't like a certain group of people or something like that, or they'll call you, say, whatever term they use. And then it's like, just ask them to define it. And most of the time they can't even fully define it. And it's like, okay, so like, why are you starting problems with people? Just to start problems with people, just to look like moral and look like you're doing something good? Because like, it's cringy. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
yeah,
and
or even worse, when people want to expose this because it's content and because it gets eyeballs on it.
I got one worse for
Uh,
you. I got one worse for you. And this and oof. Men and I hate to do this, but unfortunately, a lot of men are guilty of this way more than women. But
yeah, it's like 80-20. Women, I think the
no, 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 no,
females
no.
in the
Hold on, I
community are
didn't
a little
mention it.
different, but
I didn't say it yet. I didn't say it yet. But what I'm about to say is usually like kind of 80-20 or 90-10 with men. But doing something to get the approval of the other sex, that I cannot stand. And like, I'm sorry, but like, unfortunately, most of the time that lies with the men. We call them white knights, or we say that or we say that like you're virtue signaling. And and women will do it too, to maybe get credit with other women alongside with them, or maybe like you know I guess women would do it on the I guess it would have to be like the opposing side, right? Like men would falsely support feminist things just to get women approval, and women would falsely like just support men things to get men's approval, stuff like that. But either way, any party that does something like that, like again, like I go somewhere else. Like anything you do for any type of approval, whether it's for some sort of dating or sex or clout or even monetary too. Like, I know you can make money, but have some integrity. Um, any type of that, like you know I don't know how you expect other people to trust you as a person. How about that? Like,
yeah, but well, yeah, that's the thing is, like, what does it do? It's not just your reputation. I think there are enough people on the dark side where it doesn't even matter, in terms of like you making gains off of things. It's
yeah,
it's unfortunately like a subculture of
yeah.
cosplay.
And you know what? And we haven't even gotten into like, excuse me, we haven't even gone into the biggest crux
Mm.
of what of the more dark side of cosplay is. And everything we just mentioned, there's probably more to mention, leads to two things. Well, one or two things, maybe they're together, but it's a lot of this, a lot of shit talking, and a lot of like just kind of just drawing lines in the sand, like oh, I'm on this person's side, I'm on that person's side, oh, how dare you do this, like, and just rumors and just slandering and just like that is just the unfortunately the biggest what's it called, I mean, you got to remember, like, the cosplay community, like, uh I have a lot of friends here, but unfortunately there's a lot of people in this community that unfortunately they can get controlled by their emotions a lot. And when you're controlled by your emotions, I'm sorry, you're not that strong, man. And look, even for myself too, when I get emotional, that's a weakness for me too. That's me not having a clear. So I'll criticize myself too if I ever get emotional. So, but unfortunately, the cosplay community compared to the rest of society is just morally highly emotional, and there's just a lot of just this and that, and you know, uh, uh and it's funny how there's a lot of, and like I said with the martial arts before, there's a lot of this and that with people that are less capable of actually fighting. You know,
Hmm.
there's less. There's a reason why when in my jiu-jitsu school or amongst the community, there's no this. Oh, this person said this about this, because someone's going to go up to someone's face and you said this, and then there's going to be grappling, and then there's just going to be a whole fight that's going to happen. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, martial arts compared to regular society, they try to prevent fighting, but they try to just not fight. But when there's jawing, and when everyone knows that people are capable, there's gonna be less back and forth. So
Yes, and I think the real remedy, and I think what we're getting at is you don't like whatever your person, like whatever's going on with yourself, like whatever kind of stuff you've got going on that's not being posted online,
yeah,
you don't have to mix the two. It's okay if people that you're talking to online don't know every single thing about you, but you don't need to lean into all of the negativity. And yes, there's stuff going on behind the scenes, like what you see online. It's generally a mask. It's generally not if it's the real person, maybe it's really their personality. Oftentimes not. Oftentimes there's a lot of things that we do not know that's going on in somebody's life. There's a lot of just like issues that we all have, and
a lot of these people have
the
a life behind this
yeah.
cosplay. Like
I
we
mean, there's a
might
lot of
think,
sadness, unfortunately.
yeah, there's a lot of sadness, and we might think that everyone's life here. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people out there that have unfortunately sad lives to where cosplay becomes their identity. And I know people where when the pandemic hit, they lost their shit and they started out taking their shit on other people because they didn't have that identity to mask who they really were. So they lashed out on other people. But also there are people behind these pages that they also work and they have normal lives, and cosplay might not even be their number one thing. Cosplay is not my number one thing. I like sport. I have ESPN most of the day. I don't have like like I'm not streaming anime on most of the day. I
Yes,
have my
I'm
shows to
I'm
watch.
probably a I'm probably a bigger fan of wrestling, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. Oh, that's another
Uh,
thing too. I love Raw and SmackDown. I like to go
That's
work
my
out,
fandom.
and train jujitsu, and like I love gaming more. Like there's all these other things. It's just cosplay is one of those things that's another outlet for me that where it involves social media. So and I also post other things on my social media page too. It just so happens that you know most of what I post in the last year or 2 years has mostly been cosplay. So you
Mhm.
know so but anyway, back to the dark side.
Yes, and I think, and again, like trying to turn this into like, well, is it just hopeless? Is it something that's just always going to exist? That there's nothing we can do about it? It's like, well, we can work towards, it's the same with anything,
Nothing
like
will
it
ever
just
be 100%
it's
good. Nothing
no, it
will be
won't.
100% bad. You know what I mean? And there's always we can make things good as much as we want, and we always should. But there's always going to be a small group of people that just ruin it for everyone. So
Yeah.
and then when those group of people say something, then everyone reacts like, oh, there's a problem in the community, blah blah blah. But yeah, we just have to really try to mitigate and minimize to a small group of people the issues that's happening. And I want to say one thing, it doesn't, and I know a lot of us do this, but it doesn't start with like just cutting people off. And I mean, you have to in some ways, obviously, you got to cut people off and separate things and go your separate ways. But I think it first starts with, I don't know, obviously it starts with mental health, but I think it really starts with just like, let's just all be kind to one another, and let's just like, even if there's beef, just be like, not that you have to wipe the slate clean, but just be like, look, maybe we can't be friends, but like we can all be in the same place and not have problems. It doesn't have to escalate to something else or to like being petty or whatnot. Because like me and
Mhm.
my, even if I hate someone, I don't need to run away or not be in an event because they're there. I'll still come to whoever's birthday or support or do whatever, or do whatever. But it really starts with just like, and just being nice to everyone and always being kind, and just like, because people are struggling. If you're mean to someone, then they're gonna start lashing out on everyone else and doing the same thing. So
Yeah, or
let's
just the
let's bully
complete
involving more people.
yeah, the bullying aspect is weird. I mean, especially as like, as I approach 50 and thinking that this is still a thing in my life, that I'm going to go to a convention and there are going to be
Yeah,
people there who really are going to try and go out of their way to make me uncomfortable. And I'm just like, it's not like I've not dealt with uncomfortability in my life at this point. I'm not 22.
No, no,
You
not at
know,
all, man.
it's
We're
this
far,
is
we're way.
not like they really, it's like they play into that and you're just like, oh wow, like what are we
I,
trying to do here? And then you just wonder like what are you trying to do here? And it does get a little bit dark. Like who, that people also want to spin you as some sort of a dark human. That you show up there and like, oh well, I'm going to
yeah.
taint who you are to everyone else. I'm going to poison the well so that everyone thinks that you're hiding something, that everyone thinks that
I,
you're this horrible person.
me,
And you're like, what? Like, there's no evidence of this at all. Like, it's just the weirdest thing. Like,
me,
yeah.
you, and everyone else, we are not the same to everyone. And we're not the same to, and we don't treat everyone the same because we're biased. We treat everyone, we're treating everyone differently based on how they're treating us. So it's like, oh, why are you so nice to this person? I don't know, because we click as friends. Like, and you and I
Hmm.
didn't click as friends on the same level. You know what I mean? Or like, oh, you went to this person's birthday, but you don't come to mine because I don't know, because you're an asshole to me. Like, and this person's a friend to me. Like, it's just simple things like that. You know what I mean? Like, and even to this day, like, I deal with whoever, and I'm sure there's people wondering what I'm thinking, and I'm wondering what those people are thinking, and so on and so forth. And that's another thing too. Don't let your issues linger. If there's
Hmm.
if there's a problem with people, talk about it as soon as possible. Because if it lingers, then animosity could just build up, and then there could just be assumptions being made, and you don't know as well. Like, you can have a problem with someone you had 3 years ago, and they may not even be the same person, or may not even be thinking about it. So after a lot of
People do
time
change.
passes
Yeah.
too, just and don't make this community your whole life. Like, make do unless you're making money. Do you have other things going on in life? Come to the conventions, come once in a while, do your thing. If really problem with a lot of people at the conventions, then it's really not worth like just hanging
No.
around them like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's other outlets too. There's so many different conventions to go to that you won't see those people there. And I'm not saying don't go to your favorite convention because of other people. You could still go, but obviously it may not be the same experience depending, if everyone's different. Everyone people might be better off not going to that convention. People may still want to go to it. It depends who you are. But yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I wanted to say this in the beginning of the show, and our ADDs just make us go onto a tangent, but no good deed goes unpunished. So kind of wanted to lead off with that. Maybe
That's
we can
very
end on
true.
no
We
good
we
deed.
probably we probably can. I mean, we can look back at the year, and it's I guess it was the best of times and it was the worst of times,
It was
overall. Like,
pretty, yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. I mean, if I look back on the cosplays I did, it was very successful in terms of cosplays. I had a couple of lead shoots. Um, Liza and I put together some really good couple cosplays this year. Between what's it called? I don't know. Did I talk about this stuff already? Or when was the last time we? Oh, I don't
it
think we spoke.
was October,
It was
I
before,
think.
you know what? I think it was before NYCC, and I might have went over a lot
Hmm.
of the cosplays that I did in all the shoots. I know that was done in maybe the first show, but I don't think we hadn't talked about. Oh yeah, I stepped into a Thing costume,
Yes, you did.
NYCC, and we did a Fantastic Four group. So that was that was one thing that was cool, and did a Spider-Verse shoot. My friend had a Spider-Verse shoot at NYCC as well, and shout out to Sam and Liza for doing the Rebels Ahsoka group too at NYCC as well, and Sam for having the Barbie group as well. And also Liza was she had Ahsoka, and she had Rhea Ripley at NYCC as well. So in terms of like an overall year in review, man, like, it's all been good. Like, the shoots are great. Like, the whole Savage Avengers me and Liza did with Doctor Strange and Elektra was probably like that's probably like the best photo. That's probably photo of the year right there. If anyone wants to go take a look, I have it pinned on my Instagram. And yeah, I mean, like, in terms of like friends and everything, like I will say this at the beginning, starting out the year, just a little bit of like if I go on a personal level, a little bit of turmoil, I guess, between like friends and work and other things. But as the year went on, it just started to get more fun, a lot better. Cosplays were great, shoots were good. Still up and downs as the year went on, but I will say, because it's gonna go up and down like a stock market chart. But I would say we go from here, or I guess I'm reversed on the video. I guess this would be beginning of the year, this would be end of the year. So overall, besides cosplay, things have ended on a great note. And 2024, I will say, in terms of cosplay, will be great, and in terms of personal life, it definitely will. Things might change a bit, so for the better. I'm sure you know what I'm referring to.
Yeah,
So,
I think 2024 looks pretty good.
yeah,
I
yeah.
I'm very positive about what will transpire in the next year. What
Yeah,
we'll be able to accomplish both in cosplay and
and
outside.
like we said on my brief live the other day, more conversations between you and I. Definitely some live ones happening, whether they're live YouTube, whether they're live on Instagram, whether they're live in person. I know that'll definitely happen with you. And yeah, man, I've appreciated your friendship and everything you've done. And I've got to say, your shows have definitely gotten better from not only from this year to the end of the year, but from season 1 to season 5 right now, something strange.
The format changes are not coming up in the next year. I certainly hope there is. I will be working towards that, and it's a work in progress, and that's life in general. You keep kind of plugging away at things, and it's a journey. It's not really a destination. I think cosplay is kind of the same thing. We just keep improving. We look at what we do, and spend time in the weeds on it, instead of always thinking like, oh well, I just have to do this so that I can put this piece of content out here and I can get likes and I can get more attention and more people will like me. You have to validate it differently, and
Yeah,
that's kind of the theme too.
that's a lot. Yeah.
Don't give into the darkness of
Don't give into
the media of it all. It's a very dark place to be. It's dark energy.
and yeah, no, yeah, watch out for that dark matter and dark energy. You gotta watch out for it. It'll sneak up on you. But we will next year when I return back for season 6, we'll kick it off with some positiveness, and we'll talk about, all the things that have transpired in the time that we last had the show. It won't be the last time we talk, because
Oh, definitely not.
we're
No.
friends. We can always shout anytime. In terms of having a show, yes.
Yeah, you know how to reach me. And well, actually, good segue. How do we reach you, sir? How do we support you online? Let's get the plugs in there for Anthony Cosjitsu before we go off the air here.
I'm joking. All right. Yeah, no, Instagram, Anthony Cosjitsu. That's also Twitter. On my I have that little link on my profile where you can also find me with Ko-fi if you want to send me any coffee money or whatever it's called. Do I still have that set up? I think I do. I also have, I might have my YouTube and Twitch and all that good stuff set up as well, and all the other social medias that I post up but never use except for Instagram. So and I don't have my page does not have a Facebook either. So yeah, people that are willing to listen, that are willing to admit their, so on and so forth and all that stuff, more positiveness, just be nice to people. Don't even think about getting revenge on people. Don't even think about thinking about those people. Just think about you, your friends, your family. Put out the content that you love. And man, when 2024 turns in and weather starts getting warm again and we all start having fun again, it's gonna be something special. I promise that. At least coming from me and my friends, there's gonna be a lot of greatness and a lot of positivity coming. So, and Scotty, thank you, and I can't wait till you're part of that next year with us as well.
Oh yes, all sorts of fun things coming. Thank you everybody for being here with me and Anthony Cosjitsu on the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary, saying bye bye, everybody.